Alright, in this video I want to cover two things. The first one is we're going to go over how to rewrite your article, because it's really important that you take each of the 10 unique articles and you rewrite them. And the reason is because it's going to help you as you submit them. It's going to, basically make the article end up ranking higher potentially. Plus, after we do that, I'm going to show you how to create a nice title using the keywords, because you want to have a nice keyword-rich title. And then we'll go on to the next phase, which is to select your affiliate program that you're going to be pushing. So we're in the weight loss niche here. And what you're going to do next is come right on over to where it says the topic right here, which is how to lose weight naturally. So what you want to do here is you actually want to be writing and creating the article. Again, you want to rewrite the article. So you want to open up the Word document where you have your article, and you just want to highlight it all, right click and copy, right click and copy, and you're going to go ahead and put it right into a notepad file here. So I'm just going to put that into a notepad file and separate the paragraphs here. Now what you're going to do here is go ahead and actually end up rewriting each sentence of the article where it makes sense. So for example, what I'm going to do here is separate each sentence. So where each period ends, we're going to make a double space. And now there is software that you can actually use to actually help you do this, and I will show you that link at the end of this. But this is, kind of for the, for those on a budget, because I understand when you're making money online, it can take some time. You need to, before you feel like investing in any tools. So this is something you can still do without having to invest anything at all. But it does take a little bit of time to go through and do. But it is an efficient and effective way to rewrite, reword articles so you have more unique content. It's actually a very, very effective, excellent way for you to do this. So I'm just going through and putting a double space between after every period. So that means after every sentence, because that's going to basically give me a chance to rewrite each and every sentence for the article. And we'll know, like, the second line, we'll put it in parentheses, as I'll show you, will be the additional article. By rewriting these, though, again, it's helping you within the search engines. Once you start submitting this, it's going to help you have more unique content. And actually, once you rewrite these, you can actually have multiple content to submit, which means more traffic. So what you see here, so for example, as people nowadays become more health conscious than ever, they're always finding ways to lose weight. So there is a sentence right there. So you could put, and I recommend you do this in parentheses so you know which one is the rewrite. So you could say, more and more people every day, more people are becoming more aware of their health and are discovering methods to lose weight, for example. So notice how I just took that sentence and I reworded it. So it's pretty much, it's similar but different. So many products and brochures are being done in numerous weight loss gadgets and programs that you have to pay for. Seems everywhere you turn, you are being marketed another weight loss solution or program that costs lots of money. So again, I completely reworded that sentence. So you notice here how fast I'm going through here now. I recommend you do this for each and every one of these. Just, go in here, put a space in, parentheses. Well, most of them are scams. People would most probably try them out in hopes of losing weight the quickest way possible. People will try almost anything to lose weight as quickly as possible. So again, you can see here that I've just been efficiently going down here rewording each and every sentence, which is going to end up at the end here create a completely unique article. And then when this is done, you could actually mix and match sentences So combine, like, let's say, like, combine this sentence with the original second sentence, and maybe combine this second sentence that I reworded, in here with another one. So now, basically, by rewording this or rewriting it, you can create completely unique articles. Now, there is a software I promised you that I'd show you how to do this that's inexpensive, but again, this is a cheap way to do it. So you just want to go through the whole way and make sure when you're done here that you file save as your notepad. I'm using just a notepad file. You could do this in Word if you wanted to, but just make sure you save this because it's very important that you save this in. Okay, so here is the article that actually can help you do this process a little easier, and it will actually, at the end of it, actually take the article and turn the content you've created that's human created and actually turn them into multiple articles. So not just like one additional one or three additional ones. It can end up turning it into 10 to 100 additional articles. So it's a pretty powerful tool, and that is just called Magic Rewriter software. Magic Rewriter software, and you can just go over here and it's just www.article-rewriter.info. Article-rewriter.info. It's a great software program, relatively inexpensive, and I believe the cost is $47 just for the rewriter. They do have a submitter that goes along with it that's also a good tool, so you might want to just check that out. Obviously, you don't have to do this. It would help you and assist you if you find that it gets laborious to rewrite your articles. But this process is really, really important for you to rewrite the content. And so it's very important that you do focus in on rewriting. So now that we've kind of accomplished that process, what I want to show you now is how to create a nice keyword rich title. So you see here the topic here is how to lose weight naturally. And so obviously you want to have your main keyword phrase show up in the title of your article. This is a must and something that should happen all the time with your article. So I'm just going to come over here and create a nice title. So you want to start with your keyword, how to lose weight naturally. So I always like to start with the main keyword phrase if at all possible. So how to lose weight naturally. Let me just make sure that's spelled correctly. How to lose weight naturally, and then, discover how, or something like that. How to lose weight naturally, discover how, or discover the solution. Something strong. You want to basically give the keyword phrase and then give people a reason to check it out. So it might be, five tips to weight loss success. So something like that. You want to basically encourage people, because a nice title, it doesn't matter. Just having the keyword phrase sometimes won't be enough to get people to want to read it. So you want to make sure, how to lose weight naturally, and then give them a reason, so discover the solution, something like that. Something strong, something powerful that will really show them that you can offer them what they want to do. Now, obviously, when you rewrite the article, and I recommend you rewrite each and every article you do, that would actually end up giving you 20 unique articles to 30 unique articles if you really, want to just, splice them together. But I recommend each article, the rewritten ones even, have a different title to it. And so start with your keyword phrase if at all possible, and then give some sort of strong statement in there that would encourage people to want to read that article. So whether it's 5 tips to success or discover the solution, whatever that might be, that's what you want to do. So we're going to go on to the next process, the next step, which is going to be finding the affiliate program and a couple of products maybe that you want to promote, and then also set up your landing page. And then once that is set up, we're going to go on to the next process, which will be submitting your article, writing your resource box, which is how you get the traffic, and then we'll go on to the next process as far as getting your articles ranked, and then close out this system. Alright, for this video, I'm now going to show you the process I go through for writing the articles. So what you want to do is, again, select your niche, then select your keyword phrases, and at this point you should have selected around 10 keyword phrases, much like I have here. I've selected a few, but using the method I used in the last video. So you want to go through and select about 10 keyword phrases that you could focus in and create some articles on. So I've found one keyword here, how to lose weight naturally, that I've decided to go ahead and create an article on. And I want to show you just, kind of what the articles will look like, because that's very, very important for this entire system. So you see here the article, it's just basic. The word count, it's about Anywhere from 350 to 500 will be great as far as size wise goes. Obviously, the more you get above 400, the better chance you have of getting approved in more popular article directories. So, especially with some of these article directories like Easing Articles and some of the others, they're starting to crack down on much shorter articles. So it's important, that you try to have some meat to your content. So you do want to have some quality articles, but you don't necessarily have to be wordy though and write entire essays and dissertations. So it's important, that you have a nice balance. And you don't want to give them all the information in the world in the articles. You want to kind of leave them open at the end of the articles. You want to try to leave them wanting more, and that will encourage them to end up clicking on your link, which then could lead to your affiliate link, which is really what the system's all about, because it's all about, doing the things you need to do to get to where you're making that $100 a day. So in the next video, after we do this writing, we're going to show you how to select your affiliate program, and then also the process of setting up your landing page that you're going to be sending the traffic to. But of course, you obviously need some content to start with here. So that's why we're writing here in this step. So how to lose weight naturally was the keyword, and basically it's just some basic articles. As people nowadays become more health conscious than ever, they are always finding ways to lose weight. So different things like that, and it really does a good job of just kind of talking about ways people are using to lose weight. And it's really important that you try to include the keyword phrase as many times as possible. Like for example, lose weight naturally, ways to lose weight naturally, or how to lose weight naturally, different things like that. You want to try to include the keyword phrase you're trying to go after. Try to include it where it makes sense. Try to include it a couple times in the first paragraph, maybe a time or two in the last paragraph, and anywhere in between that makes sense. There's really no perfect keyword density. You just want to make sure that you include it, because that is important, that keyword phrase does it be included, because that is very, very important to the process. So what again I recommend you do is just write short, informative articles. I do a lot of my article research, by just going out to Google, and you can just let's just head on over here to Google real quick, and you can do your research just through Google rather effectively. Like for example, let's say that the keyword phrase is lose weight naturally, so you could go into quotes here and type in lose weight naturally and get some possible articles that have already been written on this subject. And so, here's one, weight loss for all. And you could just go visit this website, for example, and just grab, a few tidbits of information, maybe, if they have anything. Sometimes it might just be a sales page, but if it is like an article, like for example, like this one is, you might be able to pull off some information that talks about it, so, or you can just click back here, and, here's a good site, ehow.com. Great site. ehow.com has a lot of great information. So I'm not saying that you need to copy. I'm just saying that you need to do some research. And it's important that you really have some nice, solid research behind you. Like how to lose weight naturally. You could take some ideas here, of how to do that. Maybe you could say this can save you, the expense of different things. You might take some ideas here and, kind of move this stuff into like a notepad file, for example. So I could copy and paste this into a notepad file, do format word wrap, and just kind of take, ideas and bullet points from this article and then reword it on my own. That's a fast way that you can go through and write articles. And that's a really effective strategy, is to, again, just go through articles and look for, and you notice here, this is a good keyword phrase because you saw associated content, you saw eHow, you saw Easing Articles, all these kind of sites that you can possibly get traffic from are actually on the first page. But you can just go through the different articles that are already written on the subject and maybe take, some ideas and bullet points that they provide from their articles. So there's just a lot of different, strategies you can use. I like to copy and paste different bullet points. The key factor in losing weight is losing calories. So you could be like, hey, that's a good point. I'm gonna, copy and paste in. Excuse me. I'm gonna copy and paste that in here, and then simply, reword that sentence, for example. So you can kind of get the idea here of, how that can work in your favor. So the main point is that you're just copying and pasting, creating nice bullet points to go from. So you want to do this for each and every one of your articles. You want to start off with at least 10 unique articles that you write from. And then once you have those written out, save them into a Word document. And I like to save as I go just so I don't lose any. But then in the next video, I'm actually going to show you one other thing in the next video before we go on to setting up your landing page and finding your affiliate program. But I'm going to show you the next step is how to rewrite your articles, because it's important that you rewrite your articles. I'm going to show you a simple way to do that, because that's going to enable you to now, now that you have these nice well-researched articles, to be able to really distribute them out on the internet so you get even more massive exposure and possible traffic, which is what it's all about. The more traffic, the more people see your link, more people click on it, more money you potentially make each and every day. Alright, for this next step, what you need to do is the keyword research part. So at this point, you should have selected a niche market where you feel that people are in need of something. So you should have looked at the resources in the last video and determined a niche market where you can help connect people that are having a problem with a solution, because that's ultimately where you're going to become successful. So what you need to do here is now research keyword phrases related to the niche market that you're going after. So for example, I have chosen the weight loss niche. Now it would not be wise for me just to choose the word weight loss, as I'll show you why right here. If I just type in weight loss, for example, what I'm going to find here is there's 83 million results just for weight loss. Now if I put that into quotation marks, that still is going to show 60 million some sites competing for that phrase. Now if I do something like the phrase, weight loss diet plan, for example, the results get quite a bit better just by doing that. Notice now it's clear down to 206,000 competing sites for that phrase. Now even though this keyword phrase gets less searches, I have a much better chance of getting traffic for it than just going after weight loss. So to find these keyword phrases, I recommend you go to Google and type in the keyword phrase AdWords keyword tool. AdWords keyword tool. This is a free keyword research tool that I'm going to be using for you here. So the free Google AdWords keyword tool, you can find it just by going to Google and typing in AdWords keyword tool, just like Google AdWords. And this tool will take just a moment for it to load up here. So what I recommend you do here is you type in your main niche that you're trying to go after. So whether it's panic, disorders, ADHD, acne, whatever kind of niche market you feel that you can help people with, even if it's making money on the internet, or work from home, different things like that. No matter what product or niche market you're going to be focusing in on, it's important that you start with a base keyword phrase. So I'm going to type in here lose weight and then weight loss as my base keyword phrases. And then you need to put in these characters here. It just shows that you are human. And then choose get keyword ideas. Get keyword ideas. So this will take just a moment. Now it's important that you remember this system is going to be showing you how to create articles, much like you learned in the first video. And so each and every one of your articles needs to target a good keyword phrase that is getting results. So think of it this way: as you're doing your research, every single one of these keyword phrases could potentially be a nice article title for you. So what you need to do here, go to the Google AdWords keyword tool, plug in your information, and you're going to get results back from them. So what I also recommend you do is you come over here to where it says match type and you choose phrase. So you choose phrase match. And then you want to come over here where it says global monthly search volume and just click on that, because that will highlight and sort it from top to bottom, the highest search volume to the lowest search volume. So what you need to do here is under phrase match, you're going to notice here weight loss and lose weight, in the millions. To how to lose weight, that's pretty high. Losing weight. So let's come up with a few potential keyword phrases that we could target. So for example, how to lose weight fast might be a good one. So you could actually copy that phrase by right clicking it and choosing copy, and then also choosing add phrase over here. And then go on over to Google and keep it in quotes. And so I open up a new tab within Google. and I'm just going to do a search for that particular phrase right here. What I find here is that there's still actually a lot of competition for this in the 5 million range, so it's probably not going to be the best keyword phrase for us to target, obviously. So you can come back over here and choose remove from that keyword phrase. Or you can kind of, keep it added just so you kind of understand that, hey, this keyword phrase is getting quite a bit of volume, so you understand that that would be potentially, a phrase that you could write an article about. But the important thing is you want to try to find titles that you can possibly rank for, because that's very, very important. Like, for example, how to lose weight quickly has quite a bit less search volume, but 14,000 is still quite a bit. And if we search for that one in quotation marks, you get 1,000,000 results. Now, one other way you can actually search for these to really get an idea as to your ability to rank for them is to come on over and actually type in front of the phrase the word all in title, all in title. What that does is that will narrow down only those sites that are using this keyword phrase in their title tags, which shows up here, because that means that if you use that in the title of your articles, it will automatically show up in the title tags of the major article directories, which means you possibly have a chance of ranking if fewer sites are using that within their title tags. So notice now I took that down by just doing the all in title search to a result where only 4,800 people of the million that we're targeting, that 4,800 are actually only the ones using it in their title tags. So that might be actually not a bad keyword phrase to go after, because even on the phrase match level it's got about 15,000 results. So I would consider adding that phrase. And you can come down here, weight loss exercises, and you could do the exact same thing. So you could, grab that keyword phrase, come over here to where it says all in title, and then just simply paste that in there, removing the quotes. So you want to try to find, less than 5,000 is probably a good range to go in. So this one probably wouldn't be a good keyword phrase to target. So you could go back over and, remove that phrase if you accidentally added it. Easy ways to lose weight. So you see here what I'm doing here, I'm trying to find, keyword phrases that have, good volume, about 1,000 or more searches, because this is a monthly total. And also keep in mind this only includes Google, it does not include Yahoo or the Bing search engine, which Google gets the majority of the searches anyway, so it's important that you target that one. But also keep that in mind that you might pick up some additional searches from those other engines. Easy ways to lose weight. This one's going to be pretty good. It's less than 10,000 for the all in title. And obviously everybody has different methods and strategies they can do this. This is just a good idea for you, to do the all in title thing, just because it really is a good indicator. It's a better indicator of your actual competition, because really competing against a site that's not using this in their title tag, you're going to outrank them if you're using it. So you really need to just look at, who's actually trying to rank for that, and you're going to see that you can get some high volume keywords this way. So I recommend you do this, and that you keep trying to narrow down. You want to try to come up with, as many possible keyword phrases as you can, because each and every one of these would become an additional article. Like, you could do an article on easy ways to lose weight. You could also do an article on how to lose weight quickly or how to lose weight fast. So you can kind of get the ideas, as how that's going to work. Best diet to lose weight, that might be just one additional, keyword phrase. So these are all article topics that you're researching here, and you're coming up with topics that give you a chance to rank, plus have some good volume to them. So that would be another, good keyword phrase to add. So as you get down here, as it gets less and less, you can come down all the way down here, and you might see some additional keywords that you might consider going after, like, like for example, how to lose belly fat. If I were to go over here, and you could come up here and do a search, for lose belly fat, for example, and then choose get keyword ideas, and then that would bring up a whole new list of potential keyword phrases that you could target, focus in on, and potentially profit from with this campaign. Now again, this would work with any niche market that you're trying to go after. So here's one, exercises, best way to lose belly fat. So I could highlight that keyword phrase. 12,000, 22,000 searches on a local level, meaning the country that I'm searching from, which is the US for this example. So 22,000 some searches a month for best way to lose belly fat, believe it or not. Notice here there's only 2,100 in the all in title option, much less competition, high volume keyword phrase, so you've got here, or excuse me, 14,800. So still a high volume keyword phrases that you could be targeting, and that would make another excellent article topic for you to consider writing about. And also notice here when you do that search phrase, best way to lose belly fat with the all in title, you notice easing articles comes up. You also notice a blogspot blog comes up. So that tells you that there are some good chances of ranking. On top of that, you've got a video, plus you've got a go articles article that shows up. So that would be a potentially good keyword phrase to go after because you see some success happening with articles. So again, this, the same thing will happen here with any niche market. So if it's acne, let's just use that for example. Let's say we're typing in, acne treatment, for example, and then acne cure. Then choose get keyword ideas, and again you're going to go through the exact same process. No matter what niche market you're going after, no matter what set of keyword phrases it is that you want to target, the process is going to be the same. You're going to use the Google AdWords keyword tools, and make sure you try to do phrase match, because that gives you a little better idea as to the actual volume for certain search phrases. And look for ones, as many keyword phrases as you can. Obviously the longer the keyword phrase is going to be, the less competition there is, but the less volume. So you kind of want to keep that in mind, but try to look for keywords that are above 1,000. This one, for example, would not be a bad one. Best acne spot treatment, and you come over here, search for it, take off the quotes, and then do all in title in front of it. All in title. And we can see, this one right here, 299 sites competing for that. You see Yahoo Answers comes up, so that tells you, you see easing articles, that tells you just there alone that there's a good chance of ranking if you went after that keyword phrase. And you notice still it gets about 1,000 searches per month. So best acne spot treatment might be a good article for you to consider writing. So you just choose, add phrase and go on to the next one. So you can see here how this is going to work. You want to try to come up with, for this method here, about 10 articles to start off with, about 10 articles, and then you can always go back and add 10 more later. But the whole ultimate goal for this entire campaign is to get 100 articles up, but let's just start with 10. So come up with 10 good keyword phrases, that are getting some volume to them, that have less than 10,000 in the all-in title. You'll find many keyword phrases have that. Try to find, obviously the lower the better. The better chance you have a ranking would be keywords, less than 1,000 or so all-in title. But that really narrows down your competition even better. So I would recommend you go out there now and do your keyword research. Try to get about 10 good solid keyword phrases, and then we'll go on to the next step, which is going to be writing the articles and going through that process. Now that you understand the system, you now need to go out online and choose your niche market. The niche is so important because this is what your entire campaign will be based upon. You need to find a niche market where you can easily find effective solutions for people. So what I want you to do is go on over to clickbank.com. Clickbank.com. So just go on over here to clickbank.com, and what you want to do here is you want to go out to where it says Marketplace up here at the top, and then over here you're going to notice it's going to ask for a category. So for example here, let's just choose the health and fitness category. So I'm just going to choose go, and it's going to bring up a listing of sites based on popularity in the health and fitness category. So you notice inside here you've got, everything from fat burning to, how to have six-pack abs, to different diets and different things like that. Most of these are diet, muscle building type things. You'll see, something for panic attacks, pregnancies, and again more fat burning item. And these are under, based on popularity. So, basically you can kind of get an idea, people possibly, for example, want to know ways to lose weight. Everybody, it seems, wants to know that. You've got fitness training, turbulence, training. All these are different products about, being in better shape, different things like that. So you can also, under the different categories, search by high gravity, which is also another indicator basically within Clickbank that, kind of sorts out as to items that people are selling a lot of. So if you look for some high gravity items in the health and fitness category, for example, you can quickly narrow down, some potential niches. You got muscle building, you've got panic attacks, you've got abs, different things like that are possible niche markets to consider. So you can browse through the ClickBank marketplace and look in different categories. You've got even a home and family category that you can do this with. So you can kind of see, things like the magic of making up getting back with your ex. That's popular. People want to know how to do those kinds of things as well. Green energy, that kind of stuff also. So different, niche markets where you can basically help people solve problems. So here's some things, another site that I want to show you. This is called Dummies.com, and I'm sure you've probably recognized this logo right off the bat. Dummies.com is basically the website for the Dummies books, the books that you see in Amazon, the books you see, all over your local bookstores. These are all sorts of Dummies books out there. So what I recommend you do is click on store, and the reason I recommend you come over here is just simply because people online and people out there all over the world are buying Dummies books up all the time. And Dummies, before they go out there, the Dummy series, before they produce a book, they spend a lot of money out there, researching, understanding what the market wants, and different things like that. So they've done all the research for you because they're not going to spend, thousands upon thousands of dollars to market new books and new titles if it's not something that's going to sell and be popular. So what I find is very interesting is that dummies.com, you actually can go there and look through their store and get an idea of really all sorts of potential niche markets. You've got here, for example, a featured title, Windows 7. That's a brand new operating system. So obviously people need help and need to find a solution for that. So if you could possibly become an affiliate for a product that talks about Windows 7, that might be a good niche to go after. But you can scroll down here, for example, look under like the health category here on dummies.com. You'll notice here in the health category, right off the bat, you've got acne. So it talks about how to get rid of acne, ADHD, Alzheimer's. Now, obviously, these are listed out, A to Z. You could actually sort these out by publication date if you wanted to as well. But really, you get some ideas right off the bat there. Acne, for example, is something, that people struggle with, and therefore they've produced an entire book on that. So going in there that that's something that's been researched and something that you could possibly do a book about. Back pain remedies as well. That's another problem people suffer from, and a solution would be great for them to find. So there's one all about back pain. So you get an idea there that these would be ebooks, potential ebooks and courses that people would also be interested in buying. Because if they're going to spend, all this money producing these books, then it means there's a market and demand for those kinds of things. Now another site, it's kind of creative, that you can look at is WebMD. WebMD is more, it's a health related type website for better health and things like that. But you notice here all these different health conditions. You've got everything from heart disease to back pain to heartburn to, migraine headaches, different things like that, skin problems, sleep disorders, ADHD, allergies, all these kind of things people could potentially want solutions for. And there's actually a lot of ebook that provide natural solutions, for back pain relief. They provide, natural solutions to curing depression, natural solutions to, getting over ADHD, different things like that. And so you could possibly determine some possible niche markets to look further into just by looking at a site like WebMD.com. That's very, very huge and highly effective. You see even here that they've got a lot of articles on healthy living, so how to eat better, how to diet and get in shape. So, diet and weight loss is very, very popular among people. So again, that would be an indication that that would be another niche. One other site that you can actually turn to for your research, it's a site called 43 Things, 43things.com. 43things.com is really great. What it basically is, it's kind of a a site where people go in there and they post things that they want to do, in the next year, things like that. It's kind of like New Year's resolutions, things like that. But it's kind of, more or less things like, it doesn't even have to be New Year's resolutions, but it can just be, 43 things people want to do, right away or before they die or different things like that. Well, here's, you can click over here on the right hand side. They actually have an option for the most popular most of the time. You can see an option for the most popular. And you'll notice here the number one thing is lose weight. Obviously there's a lot of people here that have filled out information. Lose weight, fall in love, so you've got relationships, losing weight, getting a job, maybe resume courses, how to do cheap travel, how to quit smoking. Again, love, different things like that. So that really gives you an idea. You could also look at yearly resolution trends. Okay, so I've given you some ideas, so you can browse through 43 things as well. You can browse through Clickbank. You can look at, the different categories on Dummies.com. You could look at WebMD. So I hope that you actually take some of these ideas I've given you and select a nice profitable niche market. The niche market I'm going to go after is the lose weight niche just because it's so huge. And so in the videos to follow, we're going to set up a campaign, an article marketing campaign, to generate that extra $100 or so per day. But number one is find a nice niche market first that you think can be profitable, something that can make a lot of money, and then pursue it that way. And one other thing you could do is actually go out to Google and you could actually do research on that niche market just to see the popularity. So like I could type in natural acne cure, for example, and then do a Google search and kind of take a look at what kind of results I get back. And look for advertisements, look for popularity, look for different things like that that might come up there in Google. So basically that's, just some ideas you can do to further the process. But most importantly is look over Clickbank, look at Dummies.com, look at WebMD, and spend some time thinking of possible niche markets where you can provide solutions to people, because that's where it happens. When you provide a solution to a problem and you can make those affiliate commissions and generate that $100 or so per day eventually that you're trying to go after, or whatever your financial goals might be. At least it gives you something to start with. So start by finding a niche market. In the next video we'll go over researching that niche market, and then we'll continue on with the campaign after that.